Gaming is often thought of something that's done on a console or PC, but can it Chromebook? This video is to show the capabilities of gaming on a Chromebook. And let me start by saying I am testing everything on this. This is my HP Chromebook X360. It has a Core i3 with 8 gigs of RAM, and this is a touch screen device. So your experience may vary depending on the type of device you use. Now, I've tried about every way possible to game on this thing. My favorite so far is using it as an emulation device. Running the old games I grew up playing gives you like a real nostalgic feeling, and they take up hardly any storage space. And you can use the Xbox controller as an input method, or the keyboard, or you can utilize the touch screen. Now, there are a few different ways that I found that you could possibly game on a Chromebook, and none of them are really that ideal. So I'm not trying to knock Chromebooks. I love Chromebooks, but as far as gaming goes, if you're looking to play like a high-end or something really graphic intensive, then a Chromebook is not going to work that well. So keep that in mind. You don't have a dedicated GPU on your Chromebook, so a lot of your games are going to be probably mobile first, something like that. Now, I've tried the Linux and installing Steam. What I found was, with the game that I tested, you can see this space shooter here, that you get a lot of frame rate drops, a lot of frame drops completely, and there's so much lag that it's almost impossible to play. Now, I will admit this is the only game that I've actually tested on Steam, but I would imagine that something more or something less graphic intensive would be a lot better. So maybe some kind of simulator game, or a turn-based RPG, something like that. I'm sure it would probably work just fine. And again, with the Linux and Steam, you have to go through a few extra steps to get that going, but it is possible. It's not extremely difficult, and there are plenty of YouTube tutorials to show you how to get that set up. And then I looked at browser-based gaming, where you're searching for maybe something like Solitaire. In this case, I'm playing Doom. There are some decent games to play in the browser, and the benefit to that is there's nothing to download or install, so you're not taking up any storage space, and that's nice. But you're kind of limited on your game selection. So then I tried Android apps. With a Chromebook, again, this is not typically designed for gaming, so you're going to find some issues, especially with your input methods. So almost all the Android apps are going to be for a touch-based device. And I tried, let's see, PUBG, very difficult to play on this particular device. The input method, of course, it's looking for touch screen. I couldn't find any kind of controller support or keyboard support, really. You can see that it does support the mouse, but it's hard to move around. And then I also tried Mortal Kombat, and what I found was holding this device in tablet mode is quite cumbersome, and you're trying to hold such a large display, and you're using your thumbs to tap. It's almost impossible to play accurately. So after a few minutes, it became kind of heavy, and I was so frustrated with trying to move my hands just right to touch the targets on the screen that just really wasn't worth the experience. So I decided that maybe that's not the best way to play. And then, of course, there is Stadia. Now, Stadia is Google's streaming game service, and this is still in the paid plan right now. And you're gonna, I haven't got to test it myself, but I'm excited to actually get to whenever it becomes free. I will be at least purchasing one game to test it out. Of course, this is going to require a good internet connection. The benefit is you're not going to need a super powerful device. So essentially what Google has done is put out a slew of Chromebooks, and now they're turning those Chromebooks into gaming machines. Now, there's a lot of controversy around this streaming game service, and Google's catching a lot of hate, but if you really look at all the aspects and potential for this type of service, it's really impressive, I think. So if you're thinking about getting a Chromebook and you're wanting to play AAA titles, Stadia is about the only real way you're going to achieve that. So as Stadia gets more popular, you're going to see more and more game developers develop for Stadia. So right now, you're pretty limited on a selection, I think, but there might be around 60 games total. And of course, you have the paid tier and then the free tier. The paid tier, you're going to get maybe a free game a month, something like you get a 4K resolution stream, but with the free tier, you get 1080p. And of course, you still have to buy all of your games using Stadia. But keep that in mind that with Stadia, you can use it on your phone and then pick up on your Chromebook exactly where you left off on your phone. And then you have a larger screen to work with, and you can use your controller, your Xbox controller, a mouse, a keyboard, or whatever to play your games. So there are some real benefits to Stadia, especially if a Chromebook is your only machine. So to kind of recap, my favorite way to game on my Chromebook at this moment is going to be using it as an emulation. Playing this Super Nintendo emulator in Contra has been a lot of fun, and of course with that you can kind of go back and play pretty much any game that you want, so that's nice. And plus, you're not limited to just one console. That way you're getting Super Nintendo, Sega, Nintendo 64. You might get lucky and find some decent GameCube emulators, so you have quite a few options to game on your Chromebook. Now, I'm not saying that it competes with a PC by any stretch or a console, but with Stadia really taking off right now, you're going to be pretty happy, I think, in the long run with a pretty simple Chromebook. So if you have any advice or questions or any particular game or setup that you want to see me try on a Chromebook, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to test those out. I may branch off and do a video specifically with each method that I tried. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. Anyway, until the next one.